now we'll actually be moving right on to our presentation on skill building by Nav Sohni. He's the founder of the Washing Machine Project. He was born and brought up in London, but his family are actually from the unpartitioned India. During the 1947 Indian independence, Sohni's father and his family fled their home from what is now Pakistan with only clothes on their backs. And having built life saving cook stoves in rural India and being a trustee of an international development charity, Engineers Without Borders UK, Saudi has founded the Washing Machine Project, aiming to empower women with the time to take charge of their own lives. So the next talk is on increasing your impact with Nav Sani, and without further ado, take it away.
Thank you, Jati, and thank you everyone for the warm welcome. Really appreciate it. My name is Nav. It means new in Punjabi, and I've always been obsessed with new and innovative things from a very young age. And uh, my father was an aerospace engineer, and he'd take me to air shows and I'd be obsessed with how these big aircrafts would be in the sky. I would then come home and I would take out the toolbox from the cupboard and break everything. And that used to really anger my mum. So this curious mind, this engineering mind, was from a very young age. Um, so that's one of my passions. My second passion is um, was because my father passed away when I was very young, and I grew up with my mum, who handedly brought me up with my two sisters. It meant that I knew from a very early age the importance of women empowerment and how important women were in the household. So two passions: women empowerment and engineering. So I'm here for about 15 minutes, and I'm here to talk to you about elevator pitches and pitching your idea to an audience and pitching uh, a compelling story. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share um, a pitch that I gave about my organization, the Washing Machine Project, and it's 3 minutes. So I want you to time it. And this pitch won me £20,000 uh, last week, and then we're going to get into how you can build a compelling pitch and what tips and tricks I use whenever I'm speaking to an audience. Um, okay, so if that's okay, and also please do hit up the chats. I want to try and make this as interactive as possible. So if you have any questions, we're going to cover that off in the Q&A at the end. So without further ado, I'm going to start my pitch, which is all about this lady. So I'm going to tell you a story of how this lady, Divya, changed my life and inspired me to empower the lives of women right across the world. But let me take you back to where it all started. It was 2018. I'd recently quit my job as a Dyson research engineer because I was fed up of making vacuum cleaners for rich people. I quit my job and I'd moved myself out to South India to make cook stoves for people who use solid fuel. Divya was my next door neighbor where I was living in rural India, and she changed my life. It was seeing this backbreaking work on her hands and knees and this everyday struggle of hand washing clothes that I promised her a manual washing machine, and we've never looked back since. In 2018, I started the washing machine project. We make manual washing machines that save time, water, and effort for the millions of Divyas right across the world. This problem is disproportionately placed on women who use more than 50 liters of water per cycle in water scarce areas. They do this in lakes, rivers, and streams, in buckets, using cold water, causing back pain, joint pain, and skin irritation. And Divya is not alone. Over 5 billion people in the world today live like this. This burden is widespread, and since 2018, the Washing Machine Project has interviewed over 2,000 families on washing habits. And I've seen personally kids as young as 7 wash 8 hours a day, 6 days a week to earn money. So here it is, the Divya manual crank handle washing machine that saves 75% of time and 50% of water compared to hand washing clothes. It not only washes your clothes, but dries them too. Its spin dries technology means that it's robust and easily fixable remotely. These pictures are taken in Iraq, where the beneficiaries there absolutely love the machine. We're funded by agencies and through corporates, and one for one donations is where we want to pursue the most. Our current focus has been in Iraq, where we've been piloting our machine, but we've had 1,000 orders in 6 countries. We're the only enterprise in the world today looking at this problem from a humanitarian and development point of view. This is reflected in our £60 cost price and our large capacity for large families. My team are amazing. We've benefited from over 10,000 hours of pro bono support from 150 volunteers in 6 countries. These people give up their time, their love, and their effort to help the washing machine project. We've been featured in some of the largest news outlets around the world, over 100 articles and counting, and that's me on BBC News. So our plans for the future are to positively impact 100,000 people. And also we want to become the Dyson of the humanitarian world, making different products like fridges, lighting, air conditioning, and things like that. So join me in alleviating this burden, this backbreaking work, and empowering millions of women like Divya right across the world. So that was a little over 3 minutes, and that was my pitch. I would love to hear what your thoughts are in the comments if you have any. But I think fundamentally, the thing that's going to create a winning elevator pitch is the story. Yeah, you need to start with a compelling story of why is it you that's working on this? Why is it you that's working on this idea? Why is it you that's going to solve this problem? And how did you get there? Yeah. Um, so that's the first thing. Start with the why. Yeah. And that's a piece of advice that was given to me from the very start, which means fall in love with the problem because the solution will always change. So start with the why. The second thing is you need to speak with as much passion as you can. I have a very monotone voice, but I have to speak with my hands. I'm speaking directly in the camera. Grounding yourself, taking time, taking a breath are all really, really important things. They say that when you're pitching to someone, 80% of it is what's coming out of your mouth rather than the slides that you're presenting. So make sure you know what you're saying. And sometimes people use scripts. I would advise against scripts because you can rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse to the point where it becomes monotone and predictable and muffled, and um, it doesn't seem um, the passion doesn't come across when you're reading from something. So if you want to write down something, write key bullet points and then expand on them as cues. Um, so talk with as much passion. Um, Try not to write down anything and just practice. When I say practice, don't practice word for word. Just rehearse with people that haven't seen the pitch. The final thing that I'm going to advise before I'm going to open up to Q&A is um, having a really good uh, presentation will give you extra extra marks. If you're pitching to someone that where you have to share slides, then make it as clean as possible, as coherent as possible. Remember, what I showed you there was 10 slides. 10 slides in 3 minutes is a lot to take in. Humans can only take in about 40 words, uh, uh, 40 words every minute. Um, so uh, try and understand that, and try and understand what you're trying to convey on the slides. So those are my three top tips. The first one: have a compelling story. Yeah, why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? What's unique about the solution, and what brings you to this problem that you're trying to solve. The second is talk with passion, slowly, and maybe with cue cards if you want, but bullet points rather than long sentences. And the third is keep your slide pack and slide deck as clean as possible. Now I'm at 11 minutes, 12 minutes. I'm going to ask you for a massive favor, if possible. Please jump on the Washing Machine Project on the socials. So if you use Instagram, it's the Washing Machine Project. If you use Twitter, it's the Wash Org. If you use Facebook, it's the Washing Machine Project, and on LinkedIn too. You can also add me, reach out to me. I am your biggest advocate, and if you want mentorship or if you want advice, I'm happy to give it. Um, so that's me, uh, and I am open to answering any questions that you have. So um, I'm going to answer a couple. Josh asks, "What's the most rewarding thing about your work?" I mean, the first thing is that we are actively trying to help people, and we're an impact organization. Every bit of good piece of work that we're doing will help someone somewhere around the world, and that is the most beautiful thing that gets me out of the bed every morning. The other aspect is talking to you guys. It's the most inspiring thing, I think, is that the world's next generation of engineers, non-engineers, are so passionate about helping the world. And if that's the case, then the world is going to be in a good place. And it's so inspiring about how many people want to help the Washing Machine Project, and that's what's the most rewarding aspect. So Anna Rosa asks, what's the most difficult challenge so far on the Washing Machine Project? So what I've spoken to you right now about are all positives, and I really need to highlight to you that, you know, the journey of starting your own project, starting your own organization is so hard. No one is going to talk to you about the difficulties, yeah. But I'm here to give you a dose of reality. It is so tough. Every single day is a challenge. From the product that we've created not working, to human resources challenges, to fatigue, to legal implications, to setbacks in the field, you name it, and we've overcome it. So I wouldn't say that there's a single difficult challenge. It's a constant battle that you have to build resilience to. And I would recommend um, people to um, uh, feel that resilience, and feel it every day rather than this one big abstract hurdle. Um, uh, be in the problem, okay? Fall in love with that problem because the solution will change. Um, Jyoti asks, how did you turn your idea into a global initiative making real change? I identified something that was personally um, something that I think was attainable to solve. I had lived that experience. I had seen the problem. Um, and so that was easy for me to see. When you see something, you can try and come up with solutions for it. I had then um, uh, persuaded other people around me, influential people, and my friends around me to help me. And that's where your compelling story comes from. So I would advise that once you've found a problem that you want to solve, tell people about it. Tell as many people who are willing to listen to you about it, and get them in on the journey, because you're not going to be able to solve it on your own. And that's how I turned my idea into a reality, and um, it's through collaboration and partnerships. And at the start of this journey, it was a couple of friends, and now it's global organizations. The same method, we're going to get through this through partnerships. Um, if I'm allowed to, I'm going to take a couple of more questions. Alison asks, can you give some advice on how to get in front of funders in the first place to able to pitch your idea? Alison, this is a really good one. Um, at the start of this journey, no one even wanted to listen to us. I remember I had to physically knock on the doors of the United Nations in Lebanon to get a meeting with them. And now we have 350 emails in our inbox for partnerships. How did we get to that? Well, we were consistent. We kept turning up. We kept talking about the problem, and we kept talking about our mission. Um, and it's through organic growth, through the network, that we got to this place. And then some practical piece of advice is LinkedIn is a very good tool right now for young founders who want to get some mentorship or support. Reach out to other founders who are a couple of years in advance of you, because they have their own network. Ask them questions. Have a list of questions that you want to ask, um, and try and give back something as well. So I love doing these talks because I feel like it's my way of giving back, because I've received so many handouts from the community. And the final thing I'll say is that there's loads and loads of competitions out there for young founders, engineering, non-engineering, STEM, non-STEM, and so contact your universities. They'll have a list of competitions that you can apply. If your university has a an entrepreneurship hub or your school has an entrepreneurship hub, then contact them. That's what I'd advise. Um, I'm gonna go for another person. Marianne asks, "Do you have any ideas to impact a lot of people?" Um, I I have a bit of a controversial answer to this, and I feel um, that people today always try and think of like big impact before small things. And the way I explain it to people is that, you know, you don't have to think of these far flung ideas to help people across the world in the first instance. Impact could be all around you. It could be your next door neighbor. It could be, you know, the person walking across the street. It could be your colleague. It could be a family member. It could be a cousin. Um, um, and the way I see it is my impact is through my everyday work. You know, it's the ideas I have on the washing machine project, which will impact, you know, loads and loads of people, but it's impacting everyday people by giving mentorship and support, helping people through challenging conversations, etc., etc. And so, you know, me personally, you know, we have very practical ideas that will positively impact, you know, millions of people right across the world. For example, we're currently developing a 3-degree fridge that will use little to no electricity and maintain the temperature for 24 hours. And so these ideas are happening, and they're very exciting. Um, Madison asks, "Do you have any advice on how to get started?" So this is a common question that loads of people ask me, and I have a couple of things that to say on this. The first thing is that people are very scared of failure, and that almost cripples them to start anything. So my first bit of advice is um, you need to get over that fear of failure because um, because you are going to fail loads and loads and loads of times, and that's okay. Get comfortable with failure, own it. Yeah. The second thing is that um, you just need to start and start with something very simple. If you've identified a problem, you have an idea about a solution, just act on that solution and get someone in that can help you as soon as possible, as an advisor, as a mentor, as a co-founder, someone that is going to hear your idea and give you that extra push. I'm 31 right now, and I wish I did this 10 years ago. Because could you imagine where the washing machine project would be if we started 10 years ago? But that's fine because it's better late than never. Um, and by getting someone in on that journey, sooner rather than later, you have someone that you're accountable to. And I think accountability is really important when you're getting started on something because you need to show up for that person. Jyoti asks, if you had to do anything differently, what would it be? Um, I don't think we'd do anything differently because each one of these decisions that we made has led us to this position, and I think we're in the best position that we could ever have been because each reaction has an equal and opposite. Each action has an equal and opposite reaction, right? And I think you know, every decision that we made has been for a reason for that period of time, and luckily we've failed forwards, and I wouldn't have changed it for the world. So I'm not getting any more questions in. I'm going to wrap it up there. Head on over to the washingmachineproject.org to support. You can support us through donations. Email us if you want to volunteer. There's a few volunteering spaces open. And do follow us on our socials as well. The Washing Machine Project on all social medias. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nav, for that presentation. That was probably one of the most inspiring stories I've ever heard and some of the best advice I've ever gotten. So thank you so much for coming and sharing your knowledge, your story, and uh, all your feedback for how we can all improve our own projects and ideas. So thank you.